Hi, welcome to TFI Newsroom. Ahana has launched its cloud-native managed services for Presto on AWS. To deep dive into the announcement, we have with us today two co-founders of Ahana, Deepthi Borkar and Stephen Me. It's good to have you both again on the show.
Great to be here, Swap.
Perfect. What a sync of, great to be. You guys are a great team, right? I've never seen people say at the same time. What a great synergy. Okay, so let's talk about the announcement itself. Talk a bit. Tell me a bit more about Ahana Cloud for Presto on AWS or for AWS.
Yeah, so we just launched today, made a big splash in now offering the first cloud-native managed service for Presto. It's called Ahana Cloud for Presto. And what this does is it lowers the level of complexity, so it's just a point-and-click type of experience. And it's built for AWS first, but this is solving some really big problems that Presto was originally out to solve, and it also addresses the complexity of distributed systems.
So I want to understand the managed part of it. That because as you said, these things are complex. Just because you're running something on cloud doesn't mean it's a magic bullet up there. So talk about what the workflow of a developer develops teams. How do you simplify it for them, and what are you managing for them?
Yeah, so the term cloud or even managed services, these are all kind of used very broadly, and they could mean different things. It's kind of like the term AI, artificial intelligence. You think you're getting some AI, and it's like going to be a really smart, intelligent thing, and you find out it's just a bunch of pattern matching. Okay, so a managed service that is different than just having some scripts or CloudFormation templates or Terraform and saying that kind of just helps you set up this stuff, but you're on your own to manage it. It's different from installing software like AMIs into AWS or installing software elsewhere. It's not about software. A managed service is about services, and delivering the value to the users means that they don't need to manage the infrastructure, and they don't even know that it's running a full-on Kubernetes cluster and it's scaling for them and it's handling these things. So we try to take all of that and abstract it away such that now data platform teams can offer Presto and the benefits of a fast federated analytics, and do that without having to deal with all of the configuration and internals. So that's at a high level the difference between managed services that some people will tell you they have.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Swap, that cloud engineers, it's a cool new role, right? But what this means is that an engineer is working across the stack for in the cloud, everything from networking to data to the operating system to Kubernetes. But someone who is a data platform engineer doesn't really want to deal with containers and Kubernetes and manage an entire cluster on their own. They just want it to magically happen for them, right? Because their expertise is the data engineering, making data more accessible to the analyst, to the data scientist. And that's what managed services are supposed to do. They're supposed to, abstract away the complexity, making it very easy for the role that and the person that was built for to do their job with point and click and without managing all the details underneath it.
Perfect. Since we're talking about all those complexity and everything, and how you're helping developers, can you also kind of, just elaborate a bit more on what kind of capabilities are you bringing to the DevOps teams or, developers through this Ahana Cloud for Presto on AWS, so that we do understand that, how you're making it easier for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So Presto, as you know, comes out of the Hadoop ecosystem, right? And so it has some of the complexities of that ecosystem. It's very configuration heavy, a lot of config properties files to update and maintain and track. Every data source has a properties file that needs to be configured as well. The cluster has to be restarted after that. And so it gets pretty complex. Now, if you are one of the large internet companies, Facebook, Uber, Twitter, obviously you have an army of the best engineers that are managing every piece of it and every component of it, right? But if you are a company with a smaller team of data engineers, that can get very, very complicated very fast, especially when you're managing the entire data ecosystem from the BI tools to the notebooks to the query engine itself and everything underneath it. And that's why we wanted to simplify Presto to a point where it takes away the complexity of the Hadoop ecosystem. You no longer have to deal with configuration properties. It's a click and point and click experience. So we, for example, right, with a few, you enter a few fields, and we create an entire VPC for you in your own account, right? So you don't have to have your data in somebody else's cloud. So Ahana Cloud for Presto is built with the best practices that AWS offers, so that we have our compute plane where Presto runs, where the Hive metastore is runs. All of it is in the user's account. And that's really important, because increasingly security for the cloud is it's becoming more and more important. And so with the Presto clusters running in your cloud, with a click of a button, you have an entire VPC, a Kubernetes cluster that's set up for you. And then a couple more clicks and you have a cluster up and running, and not just one, any number of clusters that are running, up and running, and that can be managed end to end as a full life cycle. Now, step 2 typically becomes, let's add data sources, right? Because Presto, as you know, is a federated engine. And with federation comes the ability to connect to many different data sources. But how about you don't need to do that at all? How about Presto cluster that you create comes pre-built with a data lake bundled in, with metadata bundled in and pre-integrated, with a BI sandbox bundled in. And so you can get started off with a data lake. It's kind of Presto as a cloud data warehouse. It just simplifies it to that extent and makes it that easy. Now, obviously, the power of Presto comes from federation, and that's where the next step would be to add a lot more data sources. We have the popular AWS data sources to begin with, and then we'll go from there.
So if you look at Ahana, the company was, I think, created a few months ago. We talked about it. What kind of adoption you have seen for Presto? Also, if you look at PrestoDB, which is part of Linux Foundation, because if you're building all these services and capabilities around it, I'm quite sure the growth is also exciting. So talk about the adoption and growth of Presto itself.
Thanks for that question, Swap. Happy to address it. So we started in April, and it's been just phenomenal, the amount of adoption that's continuing to happen with the PrestoDB open source project. And as members of the Presto Foundation, which is under the Linux Foundation, that's the main project that everyone is going to, and everyone is all joining that, and it's starting to be a huge movement within data analytics. Is one of the most fastest growing open source projects, and so we're just seeing that's continuing to grow, and that's because people want to get the fast federated analytic capabilities of Presto in the open source. And so that's just continuing to go fast. We see that more and more data is now being shifted into the cloud, and therefore that's our focus with AWS to start off with. Does that hopefully that helps?
What kind of community are you seeing around the PrestoDB project itself? We have talked about it earlier, but I just want to kind of recap about the growth of the community side as well.
Yeah, I'll just make a few comments and then I'll turn over to Dipti. So the Presto community is continuing to grow. It's picking up steam. The first annual PrestoCon is happening on Thursday. We encourage everyone to go. It's run by Linux Foundation Events, and they do great events, just like they do KubeCon. We think PrestoCon will just be just as big as that in a few years. And so the amount of great speakers that are there from end users it's a great lineup. So Dipti, maybe you're involved with the community even more than I am as part of the Presto Foundation. You're involved with the outreach committee as the chairperson there. Well, then maybe you can share a little more.
Yeah, absolutely. Exciting times right now for Presto Foundation for a few reasons. There's the outreach committee engages in a couple of different ways with the community. We have a meetup that has become very, very popular. We have monthly meetups that has grown over the last 6 months significantly. The attendance for it is phenomenal. We had Walmart present their Presto story, the last one, and even more exciting is PrestoCon. As Stephen mentioned, PrestoCon is coming up in a couple of next week, and we're very excited about that. It's a amazing set of speakers and topics and sessions that we have planned, panel discussions, presentations, both from a contributor perspective about what's coming in Presto, as well as a user perspective through various different sessions, and very excited about that. And yeah, that's hopefully that helps, gives you a little more color to the community as well.
Right. Okay. I have to. You also have to accept that, admit that not everything is bed of roses. There are always challenges and complexity. So and problems. So I also want to talk about some of the problem areas. That you see not only in the committee or the project that you are like kind of actively working on resolving.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would say there's two parts to that, right? One is the technology itself, right? And the technology itself is a continuum. Presto is an amazing foundation. It is an in-memory query engine with a good rule-based optimizer, and it has some of the basic elements of a database. But when you look at the 40 years of databases, the innovations that have existed in that, there's a long way to go, right? And so while step one is making Presto easy, accessible, deployable with the click of a button in the cloud, the second phase of it will be making it an amazing engine, right? And going even deeper into the code and the core of the product and evolving that. And along with our announcement today for the cloud service, we are also announcing an incredible technical team of co-founders that are part of Ahana now, that come from deep Presto and database backgrounds. And we believe that this is what Presto needs. It needs the infusion of serious database innovations for the next 5 years, right? To make it a world-class, a best-in-class database query engine, taking from those innovations with a better optimizer, maybe an adaptive optimizer, more storage optimizations, and elements, other elements of the stack that already exists. So one part of it is technology. The second part of it is community in general, right? The broader community getting more contributions in, and on that front, it is if there was a magic formula for doing that, we know the tricks of the trade, but we're still trying to figure out some of the other aspects. But it has been phenomenal just in a year to see where Presto Foundation has come. A fun fact is that PrestoCon actually happens to coincide with the first anniversary of the Presto Foundation. And so it's just been a year, and we have a lot of achievements in that period of time, and it's just the beginning. So we're excited.
Since we are talking about that Ahana was created or founded a few months ago, now you have kind of increased your funding round, like I think it's 4.8 million from Lux Capital. I want to understand a bit about what does your roadmap, from that I mean the company's roadmap, look like? Where are you planning to increase investment, and how do you plan to further grow?
Yeah, so the company is doing really well. This market space that we're in is just continuing to grow, as we mentioned. And so in a short amount of time, we've added more millions of dollars to the company to allow us to continue to invest into that market. And so we have a team of people that we're going to be doubling in size over the next few months. mainly on the technical side, and then we'll start to build out the go-to-market side with today's launch of HANA Cloud for Presto.
So initial focus is more on developing, more engineering teams, and then it will move. Okay, awesome. That makes sense. Perfect. Steven and Deepti, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I look forward to talk to you again soon. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Swap. Take care. Cheers. Bye.
Thanks a lot, Swap. We love TFIR. Thank you very much.